We've taken a look at almost every small CCW style light that you can run out there on the market right now. So today let's step it up a notch and look at something a little bit bigger. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things. I'm back. I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm not 100% yet, but I'm gonna be taking it easy for the next couple of days yet. I figured while I'm still finishing a little bit of my recovery, I would review a lot of stuff because I got a bunch of things on my plate, stuff that you guys are probably interested in. So today we're taking a look at a relatively new light from Olight, the PL-2 Valkyrie, and I'm also gonna be comparing this light with one of my all-time favorite lights, the Streamlight TLR1HL. I've run the Streamlight on a bunch of different guns. I have probably 4 of these personally myself, but this is only my second or third time actually playing with this new light from Olight. I also just got this one in the mail recently as well, so I don't have any rounds through any gun with this light mounted on it. This is basically just gonna be like a spec overview and a first impression of this light. That being said, take everything that I say about this light with a grain of salt because I'm not actually putting it through real world testing. And with that out of the way, let's get into the PL Valkyrie. Here's a nice close-up look at the light. I have to say right off the bat that I think Olight definitely killed the design of the light itself. Aesthetically speaking, I think this is one of the better, more full-size weapon lights out there right now. I'm obviously comparing this to the TLR, but you could also compare it to something like the Surefire X300. Olight advertises that this light will put out 12,000 lumens, which will eventually deteriorate down to 600 lumens. That claim does make this one of the brightest lights in its category right now. It is IPX6 rated, so I should be okay to be running this light in kind of wet environments, maybe if I'm running a class outside at night during the rain. It has a runtime of a little over 70 minutes using 2 CR123A batteries, same as the TLR. It has a pretty nice smooth reflector, and down in there you can see the CREE XHP35 LED, if that means anything to you. The light weighs 2.82 ounces and you can pick it up for about $100 right now, so it's at a pretty good price point. Here's the light off of the gun, and as you can probably tell, it has a very similar build quality to its little brother, the PL Mini. I've done a video on this little guy in the past, so if you want to check that out, I will leave a link for it up in the corner. The Mini is rechargeable, however this one just runs on standard CR123A batteries. So once you're using this thing on 12,000 lumens with very fresh batteries, that's going to deteriorate and then you're going to have to end up replacing those batteries. The activation switches on each side are rubberized and have a little bit of texturing on there. It attaches with this little lever right here, very similar to the Mini. This is the Glock rail on here right now, but they also give you a tool and another little piece that you can stick in there and run this on a Picatinny rail. Also on the front, there is a little bit of a strike bezel, if you want to call it that. It's kind of textured all the way around. It's not very aggressive. I still wouldn't want to be hit by it though. And then to mount this up to your gun, you simply slip it over the front rail, close the lever, and it is on there. Now the activation switches, they actually feel pretty good. You probably know that I don't like switches where you have to press in on the gun like this. My hands are on the larger size, but I really don't have a problem getting in there to hit the button, and it doesn't really require much pressure to actually turn the light on either. Support hand side, even easier, obviously. Put your thumb right on there. Very clicky, tactile and audible, you can hear that. This light has 3 different modes. Press and hold for momentary on, and then release, the light will turn off. A simple tap will turn it on and then leave it in constant on until another tap turns it off. And then to access the strobe mode, it's a little bit funny. You have to use both activation switches, press them at the same time, and then you will get the strobe. When the strobe is on, you can turn it off by just pressing one of the switches. So that's a quick overview of the PL Valkyrie. Now let's go over the TLR-HL, that way we can do some comparing and contrasting. Up close and personal with the Streamlight TLR1HL. As you can probably already tell, this light is a little bit bigger in pretty much every aspect when compared to the PL Valkyrie. This light has a max output of 800 lumens running on the same CR123A batteries, and it should give you a total runtime of about an hour and 45 minutes. This light has a water resistance rating of IPX7, which makes it a little bit better than the Olight. It is made out of machined aluminum pretty much all the way around except for the activation switches back here, which seem to be some kind of plastic. It has that infamous Streamlight ring around the front. Not a big fan of that. I've said that in the past. And then it has a smooth reflector and a very similar C4 LED down inside there. The attachment point on this may not be as quick and easy as the Streamlight. However, I kind of got used to it after a while. Like I've said, I've been running these lights for a long time. I have them on a bunch of different guns. You can get this thing pretty snug with just your fingers, and then if you want to tighten it up just a little bit more, you could use a coin or some kind of flathead. This light weighs a little over 4 ounces. When I hold it in my hand next to the Olight, I can't really tell that much of a difference, but if weight saving is an issue to you, then that might be something to keep in mind. It attaches by simply slipping it over the rail like that, and then tightening it down with your fingers. Like I said, I can get this pretty snug with just my fingers and the little nubs on here, but if you want to get it extra tight, if you're going to be shooting a lot, you can also use a dime or some kind of flathead to get in there. Now, the reason I have so many of these lights and why I like it so much is actually for the activation switch. As you can see, it runs way back here right in line with the trigger guard. My hands are on the larger side, so I have no problem getting up here to the activation switch, but also guys with smaller hands and smaller fingers, you should have no problem getting up here to activate this light. Speaking of activation, the switches work a little bit different depending on which side you're using to activate the light. For a right-handed shooter, you're going to press up for momentary on, and then the activation switch is actually spring-loaded, so as soon as you remove your finger, the switch goes back down and the light turns off. You will flick the switch down where it will stay down for constant on, flick it back up to turn the light off, and then to access strobe mode, you simply tap in either direction. Momentary, you can hold it, or if you press up and then down, it will stay in constant strobe until you flick it back off. Now for your support hand side, you're gonna press down for the momentary. As you can see, the spring works in one direction. Up for constant on, down to turn it off, and then double tap for the strobe function. Now let's compare these things side by side. Let's start off with the build quality. I would say they're both pretty much the same, aluminum construction all the way around, and they both feel like really solid lights. Looking at the reflectors and LEDs, as you can see, the Streamlight might be a little bit bigger. However, the technology in the Olight will give you a brighter light for a shorter amount of time, and the Streamlight should give you a more consistent yet still very bright light for a longer period of time. Here's a top-down look at both of the lights, obviously sticking out further than a Glock 19. These will also protrude out a little bit further than a 17 barrel. However, that may be good in certain self-defense situations. You can very easily strike with both of these lights on here without actually touching the muzzle of the gun. The Streamlight does have a smooth bezel where this one has a little bit of a crown on it, so I would say this one would hurt a little bit more. Just for video purposes, both of these guns are safe and clear. What lights like this are good for when they stick out past the muzzle of the gun is good for retention shooting. If you're up really close to a subject, say you're training with like a rubber dummy, you can draw and then stick this gun right into, say, the abdomen of a rubber dummy, and then the lights protruding from the front here are actually going to stop from pressing your muzzle into the abdomen of a rubber dummy, pushing the gun out of battery. If you're pressing really hard and at an angle, you still might get knocked out of battery, so then obviously tap rack, all the good training stuff. However, that's a little bit extra that these lights add other than lumens that the smaller CCW type of lights cannot. As far as the activation switches go, you obviously know that I really do like the Streamlight little paddle in the back here. I've talked about that in the past. Now the Olight has the side switches that you have to press in to activate, but like I said, they're pretty easy to press. So when you're out on target going to activate the light press of the activation switch keeps you from kind of pressing the muzzle to either side. That is a very nitpicky type of thing. However, I just prefer a switch that you press down to activate rather than pressing in. Just like guns, a lot of these lights are all personal preference. It's whatever works best for you. A pro of the Streamlight over the Olight, as of right now, when I'm filming this video, you can actually switch out the activation switches on here to mount this thing onto a rifle. Really, you could mount both of these lights on a rifle right now, no problem at all. I actually have the TLR mounted on my Vector, but chances are if you're running these on an AR type of platform, you're gonna want an activation pressure switch rather than traditional switches like this. The TLR, you can swap off the back plate, and then it comes with a little pressure pad so you can mount it on the side, top, or underneath of an AR rail, and then run the pad back to wherever your fingers are in contact with the gun, and then have nice constant on whenever you need it. The Olight, as of right now, does not have that option. However, I don't think it would be too hard to come out with something like that in the future. Now for real life uses, I've put plenty of rounds through a bunch of different firearms with the Streamlight mounted. I've never had a situation with this attachment point coming loose at all. Generally, if I'm mounting it up to a gun like this, I will take a flathead or a dime in there and just tighten it up a little bit further than just my finger strength. However, as you can see, there is no play on here. It would be very difficult to rock this thing off. Now the Olight, on the other hand, has a very simple, quick, and easy attachment point. However, I found that it may not be the sturdiest thing. As of right now, there's no way to make this thing any tighter on the rail, so right out of the box, that's as tight as it's gonna get. I found that momentary on works fine, constant on from either side works fine, but when I go to press the strobe mode, the light slides forward, and it slides forward pretty significantly and very easily too. I'm pretty sure you can even see this on camera. If I press up, the light shifts. Might only be like a couple millimeters, but it's very noticeable. And I thought, oh, maybe it's something with the Gen 5s. So I put it on my Gen 4 and pretty much the same thing. When you go to access that strobe mode, you can feel the whole light push forward into the rail. Now that might not be a huge deal, however, if you're holstering and reholstering and actually running this light really hard, putting a lot of rounds through it and shaking this thing around, that might slip off. Maybe it's just a light that I receive, maybe not. I'm sure a bunch of you guys out there already have this light, so if yours does that as well, let me know in the comments down below. So those are the two lights, build quality and the way they feel, both pretty damn similar, and I like both of them. Now let's see if I can make it dark in here and see how they perform in the dark. Here we are in the somewhat darkness. I haven't touched anything on my camera, so you're looking at pretty much the same light as you were before. Let's start by taking a look at the output of the Olight. Here we are in the constant on mode. Should be about 1200 lumens. However, I have a feeling it's going to deteriorate pretty quickly. It's got that nice circle hotspot with a little bit of light bleed out the side. However, I actually really like the way this light looks. This is definitely more of a white light, so it might not be as true to color. However, that's just something that I prefer in weapon lights. I'm gonna tap both switches for the strobe mode, so this is a fair warning to anyone who is epileptic. As you can see, a pretty fast cycle rate. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It does not say on the box. However, that's definitely gonna disorient someone if you are pointing it directly at their eyes. Now let's take a look at the stream light, constant on. As you can probably tell, it's a little bit of a warmer light, more of a yellowish tint to it. Technically, that should give you a little more true color. If I'm looking at this light with nothing to compare it to, I would say it looks pretty good. However, when I compare it next to the Olight, as you can see, very different in color temperature. The Olight on the left side here is much more of a bluish or white tint, whereas the stream light on the right side here, more of a yellowish, warmer tone. If I shine them both on the same wall here, it might be a little bit hard to tell, but the stream light stays a little bit more focused at a distance. The Olight hotspot widens out just a little bit. That again is gonna come down to personal preference, what you like out of a weapon light. I think I like a light that throws a tighter beam at a distance, like the stream light, just because at a distance, if you are shooting, you know that your group should be somewhere within that spill of light. Here is the stream light strobe mode. As you can see, pretty similar to the Olight. It's a little hard to tell, so if you want to know the actual cycle speeds, you're going to have to go and check out the full specs in the description down below. So there you have both of the lights. As you can see, very similar in build quality and very similar in the light output as well. The Olight advertises 1200 lumens, however, I think that deteriorates very, very quickly. This thing is only gonna be putting out that many lumens on very fresh batteries. The TLR1 HL is gonna be putting out 800. It's still gonna deteriorate, but I don't think it's gonna do it as quickly. So if you're out running some low light classes with lights like these, I think you may be better off going with the stream light. The form factor of the Olight may be just a little bit slimmer. It definitely weighs less, so if that's something that you're into, like I said, this might be the better option in that case. These are definitely more duty-oriented lights. However, I know a ton of people who run this light on an everyday carry gun. I myself actually got a holster made specifically for this from QVO, just to carry a gun right like this, Glock 19 TLR1 HL in appendix. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You can run both of these lights in pretty much any setup. However, when there are smaller options like the lights that I've shown you in the past, carrying things these size every single day does get a little bit cumbersome, so I would put these in more of a home defense pistol type of role. Like I said, you can also mount these on rifles. I think this one might be a little bit more rifle friendly because of the switchable backplate, but if I'm mounting anything on a rifle, chances are I'm going with a light like this. The Inforce WML 400 lumens has a little kind of contoured clicky tail cap here. This is a great light. I have not done a review on this, but this is actually going on a pistol build that I'm doing right now. It's great for mounting on top of a rifle. 45-degree angle is where this thing really shines, and then also on the side of any kind of rifle. So if you guys are interested in seeing more about that, I can give you a more in-depth review when I go over that build. So yeah, those are the two lights, both right around $100. The stream light might be a little bit more right now, but depends on when you're watching this video. If you guys have any questions on these lights, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. If you have a PL and it's kind of loose on your rail, let me know about that too in the comments. I think this is a very good option that Olight put out. However, I don't think this is taking the crown for my all-time favorite weapon light. Like I said, this is a first impression of this light, and everything is personal preference, so everyone's opinion is going to differ. So I guess that's gonna be it for today. If you guys are new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe because I make new videos every week, and there's gonna be a lot more gear-related videos to come in the next couple of days. You think that's long enough? I think the scavengers are gone by now. All right, if you guys made it to the end of the video, I didn't want to put this in the title or even the description, but I'm actually giving away both of these lights. So if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Slap a like on it, everything helps. I'm gonna be giving away one of these lights away on Instagram and another one over on Patreon. I've obviously been getting a ton of gear sent to me and I don't really have a place to keep it all here in my apartment. So I think I'm gonna be doing some monthly or maybe bi-monthly giveaways over on Patreon. This is by no means telling you to go and contribute to Patreon. I really only want people who truly like the channel to go and support over there. However, for you people who do support over there, that is something that I want to do. I got to give back to you guys, so I'm going to give you pretty much any gear that I'm reviewing and I'm not going to use in the future going forward. And then this light was actually sent to me by Panda Tactical. They've been sending me different things pretty much every single month, so from here on out, I'm going to be doing these kind of sneak giveaways through Instagram at least once a month, depending on whenever I get a chance to get the gear and actually review it. Now I know people are like, oh, Instagram giveaway, why do you have to do it through Instagram? I'm trying to diversify where I post all of my content. If I keep everything stuck on YouTube and something bad happens on YouTube, like it kind of already is, then everything that I'm putting my effort into kind of goes to waste. I'm trying to spread the wealth out here a little bit, and Instagram, it's free to make, so just go sign up if you don't have one. And of course, that's one of the best ways to find Panda Tactical, all the gear and guns that they are getting in. So if you're not on Patreon and you want to win one of these lights, there is a post right now of both of these guns and both of these lights on my Instagram. You just gotta do a few things, be following me and Panda Tactical, which you probably already are. Like the picture of these lights and then just tag one friend down in the comments below. I'm gonna let this run for 1 week from when that picture is posted, so if you wanna find out if you win, check your DMs or also just go back and check on that photo. And I always update the caption with the winner in there after a week. So that is really all for today. Thank you to everyone who stuck around and are entering this giveaway now. I appreciate your support and I will talk to you guys in the next one.